Hi, thank you for joining us today for our virtual information session for FIU's 100% online Master of Science in Curriculum and Instruction. We're very excited you're here because if you're here, it's probably because you're thinking about that next chapter in your career and how to get there, how to prepare for that. And we hope that with today's session, we share information about our program and help you figure out if this is the program for you for that next chapter. Here's a little intro video about FIU and check it out because if you do decide to join this program at the end, you'll also be joining this community at FIU.
Florida International will be a different university in order that it may be a better university.
So my name is Carla Maria. I'm part of the FIU online team at the university, and I've been a part of the online team at the university for over 10 years now. And in my role, I work with professionals just like yourselves, trying to figure out what is next and which of FIU's online degree programs may be a match for you based on what your goals are. And I have a team of people here that I want you to meet. And that's because if you do decide to join the program, you will be working closely with this team. And hopefully, with today, you'll get to know a little bit more about the program, the professors, and also we look forward to answering some of your questions today. And the first person I want you to meet is Dr. Maria Tsalikis, teaching professor and program director for the Master of Science in Curriculum and Instruction in our elementary education major. Dr. Talikis, would you say hello to our future students and then also share a little bit about yourself so they get to know you?
So, hi everyone, and welcome. I'm glad you're here. I will be talking about elementary ed and what it entails in just a bit. But for now, I want you to know I used to be a Miami-Dade County public school teacher. I worked in that capacity for quite a few years before jumping into higher ed. So I bring, experience myself and knowledge of what's going on in the system and connections with the system. And it's all a very exciting field, a lot of changes in the field, and hopefully you'll join us in one of our programs.
Thank you, Dr. Talikis. And we also have with us Dr. Flavia Iuspa, Associate Teaching Professor and Program Director for the Master of Science in Curriculum and Instruction. And that's for our curriculum development track. Dr. Iuspa, would you also say hello to our future Panthers and then also introduce yourself?
Of course, of course. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us this evening. As Carla said, I'm Dr. Flavio Yuspa. I'm the faculty director for the curriculum development face-to-face program as well as the fully online. I'm also the director for international initiatives. So my work since I joined FIU has been in the curriculum development area. So my doctoral degree, it is in curriculum development and CNI. So I look forward having you in the program and, learning about how curriculum development is changing as we go ahead, all these different or new political era that we're entering. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yuspia. And we also have with us Jacqueline Dip, Coordinator of Academic Support Services for the master's degree. Jackie, would you also say hello and introduce yourself to our future students?
Yes, thank you, Carla. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for making it out today and joining us in this info session. My name is Jackie, and I also do want to mention Alexandra Ramirez, who also works with me, was not able to make it today. She has class, so it's a very good reason. But Alexandra and I work together, helping you through your graduate journey, working behind the scenes and guiding you from beginning the application process all the way through the graduation process. And we look forward to welcoming you to our family here at the School of Education.
Thank you, Jackie. And thank you for joining us today because this really is an opportunity for us to connect. Jackie just mentioned the words behind the scene, and, it really is. There's so much that happens behind the scenes to make sure that your student experience is smooth from the very beginning, from like today that you're exploring and checking this program out to see if it's a fit all the way through graduation. And we just want to thank you for being here. We just shared an INSEE bit about each of us from FIU today. However, we would actually love it if you shared it about yourselves. We'd love to learn about you. And particularly, we would love to learn what it is that is motivating you to want to pursue your master's in curriculum and instruction. And I have some of the reasons that I've heard from our current and our past students as to why they end up joining the program. And, it really varies all the way from improving career growth and hiring prospects to just really that passion to developing and increasing those leadership skills. But we'd really love to hear from you. So if you can just share in the chat, what's your reason? What's your driver for being here? And in the meantime, I'm going to ask our faculty, what have been some of the reasons you have heard as to why students end up joining the program? Dr. Salikis, would you share some of the insight that our students have shared with you as to why they ended up joining?
So I think that definitely the list, the insights there on the list are quite accurate. But I also think some students have shared with me the empowerment and the impact that they have from advancing in their career, advancing in their knowledge, and being able to work with children and other colleagues, in different capacities.
Thank you, Dr. Salikis. That makes complete sense. Being able to have that cross collaboration and that impact on students. Dr. Yuspa, have you heard any other different reasons or that students have shared as to why they end up joining the program?
I think I would like to piggyback on what Dr. Saliki said, and indeed, empowerment is the number one reason I think we can all agree on. But one that I really want to touch upon is passion. I think all the graduates that we have had in our cohorts, and I can probably speak also on behalf of Dr. Saliki's students, is that passion for become better educators. So I think passion is the key here. If we have the passion to empower ourselves, everything else comes because you become a better teacher, your students learn better, you promote your own intellectual growth as well as your students, you develop those leadership skills that at the same time you're able to pass on to your students. So it's kind of like a holistic development, but it starts with passion and with one's desire to be better in their profession.
Thank you, Dr. Yuspa. And you echoed passion, which is what a lot of you who are considering this program are sharing in the chat. I see passion across the board for many of your answers, and it makes complete sense. And I just want to highlight another one of the answers from one of you talking about how one of the reasons you want to pursue this degree is to increase your confidence to go and pursue those additional career growth opportunities. But yes, passion is definitely it's a constant here. between all of your answers. And I see a lot of you who are also transitioning roles and looking into this degree to help you in your new roles. So I think you're in the right space, in the right place, considering this degree. And hopefully you'll get to learn a lot about our program and figure out if it's a match for you. I also want to share before we jump into the details of the program. I just want to talk about FIU because I mentioned earlier, if you join this program, you will be joining the FIU community. And it's a very large community. So, Florida International University is the public research university in South Florida. We are part of the state university system of Florida, and we offer our students bachelor's, master's, and doctoral programs in many different fields of course education. And some of our biggest pride points include that we are one of the largest public institutions based on our enrollment class size. So we have about 50,000 students enrolled across all of our online and on-campus programs. And we've graduated over 316 alumni who are just spread out all around the world. And also, FIU is also the #1 university in the nation to award bachelor's and master's degrees to Hispanic students. So, again, you joined this program and you're joining a very large community. And I must add that since the very beginning, since FIU opened its doors, we have always catered to students just juggling and managing many different things in their lives. And we've created FIU Online at the university really with the intention of making sure that our degrees are flexible enough so that you can complete them wherever it is that you're located or whenever it's the best time for you to actually complete your coursework. We've been doing this for over 25 years now. And today we provide our students over 120 100% online programs from our entire university. And we're also one of the top universities in the country to have Quality Matters certification. And what that means is basically that our online programs are designed in such a way so that our students, our learners, and that's you, actually are able to be effective in your learning outcomes and making sure that you are hitting all your learning objectives. Now, let's talk about the master's degree, the Master of Science in Curriculum and Instruction. This particular degree provides you the options of 2 different majors. So you can either go into curriculum development or elementary education, and that's kind of like depending on where you're at and what niche you want to get into, one may be a better fit for you. But both of these majors are 100% online, and you are able to complete them in 12 months. The program does have a cohort structure. What that means is that the same classmates that you begin with are the same classmates that you will end with. The beauty of that is that you get to build really good relationships with your classmates. It's an opportunity for you to really build and develop your network with your classmates. And hopefully, these classmates are folks who will be part of your contact list for the rest of your career and people that you can just rely on and connect with whenever you need to bounce ideas or you're facing a particular challenge. That is one of the benefits of the program. So it's a 12-month program. One of the other really neat things is that this program does not require GRE for you to be admitted into the program. And the program consists of 36 credits or 12 courses. So either of the majors, the program is 36 credits, or you're looking at 12 courses. The courses are designed into 8-week chunks. So it allows you to go through the courses through a faster pace. Now, the tuition for all of those 12 courses and for the entire 12-month duration is $18,300. So that's the tuition of the program. And we'll talk about finances and scholarships a little bit towards the end of this event, of this presentation, because I know many of you probably have many questions about that as well. Now, we're currently recruiting for our next incoming class, which is in August of 2025. So the deadline to apply is June 1st. You still have plenty of time, but we always like to encourage our prospective students to apply earlier just because there is like a series of documents that you need to gather, and we want to be able to support you throughout that gathering and preparation process of those documents. So the deadline is June 1st to submit your application, and you would start classes August 18th. Now, let's get into each of these majors because there will be some commonalities, but then there's definitely some differences and reasons why each of these majors is unique. So let's start off with curriculum and instruction, our curriculum development major. Dr. Yuspa, share with us why this program is so special, and then also share with our prospective students what they can expect from their courses and what they can expect to learn from the program.
Of course, thank you, Carla. So our program in curricular development, it was really designed to allow professionals in education, in teaching, or in other areas to study the field of curriculum development, to understand what are the different pieces within the field of curriculum development. What do we mean by curriculum development? So obviously, when we look at the program study, we start with the main courses, which are the core courses, and then we have the content specialization that you will see at the bottom, which pertains to curricular development. So the core courses, when we look at the main, the first core course, which is curricular development, that one is the introduction course where we actually start the conversation about, okay, what is curricular development? Who are the stakeholders within curricular development? What ideologies have shaped curriculum development? What methods can we use to get into curriculum development? At the same time, we study the understanding by design framework to design lessons. So at the same time, we go into the practical side of curricular development. How do we go into lesson planning? We also look at the seminar course, which is issues and trends. Okay, what are the latest issues affecting our curriculum of instruction? What are the latest laws around passing? What are the trends that we see? So how all that impacts how we design curriculum development. On the elective course, we look at developing a global perspective. We put that class in particular because we are on the 21st century and we understand there is a specific skills that we want our students to have. And when I mean students, I mean our students in the classroom, but that starts with the teachers. So we look at, okay, what are the global issues of today? What are those issues relevant for us? How can we develop a global perspective to eventually put it into our teaching class, in our teaching pedagogy? Then we have the research core courses. Those are the two fundamental research courses because the first one, which is the foundations of educational research, it gives you the introduction about research. Okay, what do we mean by quantitative, qualitative? What type of methodology you're going to use? Who is going to be your pool, meaning the people that you're going to study. And then we go into the specific one, which is the action research for educators, because this program requires you to do an action research. That means that it's different from a dissertation and a thesis, because on an action research, you're going to be analyzing a particular issue that is close to you, something that you're seeing in your classroom or something that you're interested in finding a solution, or let's say that you're interested in looking at the assessment of a particular strategy and you want to do it. So that's what is called action research. So in that particular class, that's when you start the development of that particular research that is tailored to what you're interested in your particular field. And then we go into the content of specialization. And here we have, again, more related to curriculum development. We go into the fundamentals of learning, meaning what are the different ways that people learn? That is the key question in that particular course. Then we look at curriculum design for childhood education. What are some strategies that you can use in early childhood? Some strategies also within the secondary school curriculum. Then we look at curricular evaluation of improvement. We particularly look again at what are specific methodologies that you can use to evaluate curriculum. The politics of curriculum, that's another class where we look at politics, how politics influence how we teach and what we teach. And now more than ever, the politics of curriculum is becoming very relevant when we go into our classrooms. And last but not least, we're looking at the colloquium in curriculum and instruction. That's the last class of the program in itself, and that's where you will finish your action research and you actually present it in your class. So that will be like the culmination of these 12 months, I would say, journey through curriculum development.
Thank you, Dr. Yuspa. Thank you so much. That was a great overview. And I hope that was helpful to you if you're considering curriculum development. It really is a snapshot of the each of the courses of the program. If you have any questions about the curriculum development, just feel free to share them in the chat and we'll be answering them throughout. Now, let's talk about the other major of the program, elementary education. Dr. Salikis, would you also share with our future students what this program is all about, why it's so special, and then also what they're going to get to learn and get out of the courses of the program?
All right, thank you. So in elementary, we shift the focus from, or we shift the focus into enhancing and strengthening the skills of elementary and or other teachers who want to specialize in elementary education. So it looks at some of the courses that you saw that Dr. Yusba mentioned. As you can see, there are some important areas that are common. For example, the curriculum development and instruction core courses are the same for both programs. But as the program moves along, the elementary education looks at classroom practices and looks at what is relevant and in methods, new strategies, what works, how we can help our children improve their learning and, impact them in many different ways. And so our content specialization is a critical piece with all the different courses that focus on the different subject areas that most elementary education teachers teach. And so these are taught by experts in these different fields. And there's like different things that are happening in these fields as we speak. For example, I'll speak a little bit like the first one there, theory and instruction and literacy. A lot of new research has come out about literacy and literacy instruction and what works. We know that the science of reading provides a lot of new approaches to how children learn and, what and how they learn how to read. And so these are all incorporated into this class. So everything is cutting edge. Everything is very relevant to what you will be applying in the classroom, bringing all these types of theoretical ideas into the actual practical space. Another that is really interesting is the action research, where you are able to see practical applications and solutions for potential problems that you encounter in your classrooms or that you are aware of in your schools or in other education settings that apply. And finally, we like to think that, we bring in a lot of, new ideas and support systems into the program. Recently, one of the interesting and exciting areas that has seeped right into our education spaces, including in the elementary setting, is AI. And so we're going to be looking at and interacting with AI as it applies appropriately to all of these topics. So a lot going on, and a lot of exciting ideas and learning opportunities.
Thank you, Dr. Salikis. Thank you for sharing that overview. And I hope that was helpful to you if you're considering elementary education as your major. Now, we shared a little bit about courses, but now let's talk a little bit about scholarships. So, there are a limited number of scholarships available for new students beginning this August 2025. And we want to make sure that if you're here with us today, you get to take advantage of these. The first scholarship opportunity is our FIU Online Corporate and Community Scholarship. This is a one-time $2,000 award, and it's awarded to a select number of either employees or members of organizations making an impact in communities and in industries. So if you work for an employer, if you work for an organization having an impact in a community, we want you to apply to this. Or if you are part of a community group or an industry association having an impact in a community or in an industry, we also want you to apply to this. And I dare to say that if you're in education, you probably already are involved in some way with either through your employer or through some sort of or community organization that you are contributing to being an impact, a positive impact in a community and in an industry. So we want you to apply to that scholarship. And then we also have our FIU Online Academic Merit Scholarship. This is also a one-time $2,000 award, and it's awarded to a select number of students with the highest GPAs, and particularly the highest GPAs from your upper division coursework from your bachelor's degree, or we call that the upper division coursework, the UG 60. So basically, it'll be the courses with that you took in the latter part of your bachelor's degree, most likely. That is a very competitive scholarship. So I will say that it's very competitive based on GPA. Then we also have our FIU Online Get Started Scholarship. This is also a one-time $1,000 award, and it's awarded to a limited number of students experiencing a hardship. So if you are experiencing a hardship, we want you to apply to that scholarship. Now, I'll add a note about the $2,000 awards, the Corporate and Community Scholarship and the Academic Merit Scholarship. Those two scholarships, those one-time $2,000 award, that award is divided and dispersed in each of the first 3 semesters that you're completing your degree. And then the Get Started Scholarship, that award is awarded in entirety in the first semester of you completing your degree. So just something to keep in mind. And the process to apply to these scholarships is to first apply to the program. And we'll talk about how to do that in just a little bit. But first, you apply to the program. Once you apply to the program, you will be receiving an FIU student ID. And with that student ID and with those FIU credentials, you'll be able to apply on the website on the bottom of the screen. Let me share that. It's fiu.academicworks.com. Let me repeat that, fiu.academicworks.com. That website is actually FIU's scholarship portal. And on that website, you can browse many other scholarships in addition to these 3 opportunities. I encourage you to sit down and review all the listings on that website because you may find additional scholarships that you are eligible for. Now, I did share that these scholarships are limited in number and not every student is guaranteed an award of these scholarships. So when I share this with students, sometimes they get discouraged from applying because they say, well, it's not guaranteed, so why would I apply? But I just want to share that over the past 3 years, we have awarded over $200,000 in scholarships to over 100 students. And if you do the math, that's a lot of aid to a lot of students. And what our next students could be you could be the next student awarded. So I do encourage you to apply to these scholarships. And again, we are here to support you throughout the process. So if you have any questions about this, just let us know. This program also allows you to apply for the federal financial aid. This is what some of you may know as the FAFSA. And the way to apply to the federal financial aid is to either do it through the studentaid.gov website, or there's also a mobile app, the My Student Aid mobile app. You can submit your application there. Now, keep in mind, you will need FIU's federal school code to apply for federal financial aid. It is 009635. Let me repeat that. 009635. That's the way that once you apply to in the FAFSA through the federal financial aid system, once you put in FIU's code, that is how FAFSA will send us your information. So it's very important to put in FIU's code. And then also keep in mind that you'll be applying for the 2025 to 2026 academic year for the FAFSA, and you will need your tax returns from 2 years ago. So you'll need your tax returns from 2023. So also something to keep in mind for the financial aid. Now let's talk about admission and application. Jackie, share with our students what they need to do to apply to the program and what are the requirements for admission.
Sure. Thank you so much, Carla. All right. So the first thing that you will want to do is submit your online application by visiting go.fiu.edu/apply. Then you will want to ensure you select the correct concentration, whether it's the curriculum development online or the elementary education online concentration. You want to make sure you select these online options, otherwise they will not be routed to us. Now, as far as supporting documents, the most important document that you will want to get on right away is submitting your transcripts. Now, there's always a delay with these transcripts, but really the fastest way to get that over to us is by having your university email your official transcripts to grad@adm@fiu.edu. Now, this option is only for those who graduated within the United States. If you graduated from FIU, we do not need this. You'll also want to submit your statement of purpose, your resume. If your bachelor's degree is not in education, you will want to ensure your resume reflects teaching experience and 2 letters of recommendation. Now, we want to make sure that those recommendations are academic, so from a former professor, current professor, advisor, mentor, or from a professional reference such as a coworker or your supervisor. Now, if you graduated from an international institution, you will need to provide a little bit more documentation, which include a copy of your course evaluations, excuse me, from an NACES member. And sorry, I apologize, I'm a little bit sick. And for those who completed their degree in a country where English is not the official language, you will need to complete the English proficiency exam. Most students opt to take the TOEFL, or there is also the Duolingo option, and you will see there on your screen the scores that are needed. Now, if you fall under this international graduate section, reach out to me and we'll be sure to guide you through the process to ensure that you have everything you need to complete your application.
Thank you, Jackie. I hope that was helpful. That's a great overview of kind of like what the steps are for you to apply and what the requirements are. And we also want to share that if you do think that either the curriculum development or the elementary education majors are for you, if you think this is a program for you, we want to share that we will cover your application fee. So there is normally a $30 application fee for you to submit your graduate school application at FIU, but we don't want you to have to worry about that fee. However, we will need you to follow these steps. This is a great slide to either like take note of or take a print screen of, because we're about to review the steps for us to cover your application fee. So the first thing is that you go to that website, go.fiu.edu/apply. That will take you to our graduate school portal. If you don't already have one, you will need to create a user profile and get started with that application. You'll be asked a series of information about yourselves and former institutions. And that's a process that takes about 15 minutes or so to complete. All of the documents that Jackie mentioned earlier, you can submit all of those documents afterwards. But the actual application itself takes about 15 minutes to complete, and it's basically a questionnaire asking you information about yourself and your former colleges and universities. And towards the end of that questionnaire, towards the end of that application, you're going to get asked, how would you like to pay for the graduate school application? So what we ask of you is that you select the pay by check option, and then go ahead and submit your application. And once you submit your application, you will receive an email with your application confirmation and your student ID or your Panther ID, because we call our student IDs Panther IDs because Rory the Panther is our mascot. And once you get that email with your confirmation and your student ID, email Jackie. Her email is jdipp@fiu.edu. Email Jackie and let Jackie know that you submitted your application, and just share with Jackie your application number and your Panther ID. And then we're going to look you up on the back end and cover that fee for you. So again, the actual application takes about 15 minutes to submit, and all of the documents, you would submit those afterwards. But if you select the pay by check option and email Jackie, we'll be able to cover that application fee for you. I also want to add that when you submit your application early, Jackie is notified that you submitted your application. And what that allows Jackie and you to do is to start connecting so that Jackie can start supporting you in the process of gathering these documents, because we know you're going to have questions as far as like how to navigate getting and gathering these documents. And Jackie and Alexandra are here to help you with that. So again, the earlier you submit your application, even if you don't have everything ready, we don't expect you to have everything ready right now. We do expect you that if you think this is the program for you, you can apply, and then we can begin working with you one-on-one to make sure that we can answer your questions throughout the document gathering process. So we know that it's a process, and we are here to help support you through that. Now, we've shared information about our program. We've shared information about how we can help you. Now, we'd love to open it up to questions, because this event is really meant for us to not only share information with you, but we'd love to hear your questions. I know some of them have already been shared and answered in the chat, but I can only imagine that there's more questions to come. So feel free to either share your questions via chat, or feel free to open up your microphone or your camera and share your question with us. This is what this time and space is for. So let's see what questions come in.
All right, so I see here we have a question. How much per semester? So I do want to state that these programs are lockstep, meaning there is a set schedule for the programs. And essentially how it works is that you take 4 courses per semester, but those courses are split in half. So you take the first 2, the first half, the second 2, the second half. Now, that being said, because that's very important to keep in mind, the tuition is fixed. So the full tuition cost is 18,300 for the entire program. And that essentially breaks down to 6,100 each semester. And so you'll take your courses beginning in fall, spring, and summer. So it's 3 semesters to complete the program, and each semester your tuition will be fixed at 6,100.
Hello, how are you?
Hi,
Hi.
Catalina.
Hi, I was listening on my way home from work. I'm just arriving, but I'm working at a preschool right now, and it was kind of random me getting a job here, but I found a passion for it. I'm really enjoying it. Um, like I didn't realize that I was actually naturally. No, my phone's dying. Naturally kind of good at it. But now I'm worried. Now I decided, okay, career change. I want to do my master's, which I thought I would never go back to school again. And I decided I want to because the school I work for, they help pay for it. But I'm unsure because um I don't want to limit myself in sticking to early childhood and then being in early childhood and not knowing elementary. And then I'm also worried that if I study elementary, I might not be able to get back to preschool. Or some advice that I got was, well, do you like middle school? Because you could get placed in middle school and then never go back to like kindergarten or something like that. So I'm just unsure if I should do a master's in early childhood or a master's in education in general. And so I'm really looking for a little bit of advice on that.
I'm going to jump in. You mentioned elementary several times. So the programs and elementary ed does not lead to certification. These are things that you could do independently throughout CERT, and these that is very common and typical for people to seek out the specific certifications. But having said that, I want to say that the focus of elementary is K through 6.
Mm.
That is the area where the state of Florida at least certifies. So the whole of elementary does take into consideration early because it's the K3 overlap is there. And then
Mm.
there's sixth grade, which is like a kind of sounds odd to some because sixth grade is already a grade typically associated with middle school, but it's a K6 span. So there's something there that may or may not be, that may fit for what you're looking for. And then when you're done or through the program of study, you can talk with your school and you could as you define what you want to do and where you want to go, you can eventually certify in areas that might be of more parallel to where you're thinking of permanently or for long-term working. So I hope that helps a little bit.
Yes, it sort of it sort of does. Thank you.
Okay.
And maybe to expand on that question, there's another question in the chat, and maybe we can elaborate on this, Dr. Talikis and Dr. Yuspa. But the question is, for both of the paths, what are the type of career paths or titles that can be achieved for the degree? So I guess I don't know if Dr. Salikis and Dr. Yuspa, do you have any kind of like insight as far as like career paths that
Sure.
the majors
I
prepare for?
I think I can speak on behalf of the curriculum development, and I think some of it may also probably overlap with the elementary ed. Remember, the curriculum development is like the big umbrella, and that helps in the design and look at curriculum regardless of the area where you are. If you're in a classroom, obviously you want to get more involved and get better understanding of how to improve your curriculum planning or lessons. But let's say you decide to stay away from the classroom. So, so maybe you can you can work in a childcare center. You can become the director of when it comes to looking at the curriculum activities. You can work as a training coordinator, someone who perhaps is in charge of developing training programs. So again, you will have to look at who are your employees, what type of training are you going to be developing in terms of what are the outcomes. If you want to be in the classroom, you can be perhaps a lead teacher or you can become an assistant principal if that is one of the requirements. So it really, you have to, because curriculum development could be so broad, it gives you that flexibility that you get to look at different paths, not only in the classroom. So when you look at professions, you can look at something related to if it's about developing a curriculum, if it is about assessing, if it is about doing training. So those are the keywords that you can always look at when it comes to the curriculum designer, if you want to be an instructional designer, and so forth. I don't know if that helps.
And that is, also the same for the elementary ed. It just a master's degree is going to give you choices and options to broaden your professional, what the doors that you can knock on professionally. I want to say there's a comment about certification, and no, they don't lead to certification, and that was answered. But what I want to say is that you can certainly apply with the state of Florida for certification at any given time. The degree, the program in elementary ed, if you're seeking certification in elementary ed, due to the type of courses and the methods courses that you are exposed to, gives you enhanced knowledge and added knowledge that is typically associated with those certification exam processes. So just a little FYI there on that. But they do not lead to certification, nor are they intended for that purpose.
Lots of really good questions. I've seen some other questions come in through the chat and they've been answered, so feel free to share questions now.
Hi, I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, so one question I have, I'm interested in the curriculum and design because I want to become as an instructional designer. So for the master's program, are there any courses like Photoshop or video editing? Because when you're training or presenting material, you do it to PowerPoint, or you use something where you got to have your microphone, you're editing and like speaking, like this is how you do this course and this is what you do. So is stuff like that available within the program or no?
We do not, thank you for asking that question. We do not look at those specific applications, I would call them. However, I can speak on behalf of the courses that I teach, and I'm sure this applies also for the elementary ed and for all the other faculty in the program. We do ask the students to do to do videos, to do presentations online. And the way that they use the presentations, we allow them to use an app that they're interested in. So they can use from Nearpod to PowerPoint to any other type of, of app. So in that particular sense, the students will develop those skills because we're asking you to do that, to do a video, to present something for online class. But if you're referring at per se learning those applications, that is not what curricular development in this particular case is looking at. I don't know if I was able to answer your question.
Yeah, that does. Okay. Thank you. And then one additional question I have is what other particular companies come by or typically recruit from this program that you know of?
Recruitment, I think I don't handle recruitment, so I guess I don't want to give you false expectations. But for example, I was looking as I was doing a quick search. I know that you have companies like, for example, I was just looking at one right now, which is Clarity Consultants. Again, I didn't even look about that, but it's looking for instructional designers. So if you actually go into Indeed.com, and that's one of the exercises that I do. and you put curriculum development or instructional designers, even like a complete list of all the jobs that are available right now, and you can look through them. So that's a specific, very, real way to go and look into. But again, I do not handle at my end I would say the career side of it. So my apologies if I'm not giving you like a direct answer.
Okay, no worries. Thank you.
And if let me expand on that just a little bit. So to the first part of your question, um, as Dr. Yuspa mentioned, uh, learning the particular applications, you may not get an actual chance to do that within the program. That's not what the program is meant to do. However, FIU does offer options, short course format courses where you may be able to find a course that teaches the particular program that you're looking for. You can find more information on our website, learnermarketplace.fiu.edu. I just shared it in the chat. But on that website, you'll be able to find non-credit continuing education courses, and some of them may fit what you're looking for as far as like learning a particular application, whether it's Photoshop or PowerPoint. I mean, you name it. There's a wide menu of options there. And then if I can just expand, not going into particulars, what employers or what companies are recruiting from this particular program, but the program, the master's program, does tap into FIU's career and talent development services for our students, and they organize a series of really like events and opportunities for our students to connect with employers throughout the year, including career fairs. So again, the not to, I know we're not providing any specifics. However, as a student in the program, you are able to benefit from our Career and Talent Development Services office. Right, let's see what additional questions come in. I believe we've answered all of your questions today. We just want to share that if you think of a question later and we suspect you may, you can always reach out to us later. Here's our contact information on the screen. We just had a question come in, another question asking if the program allows students to enroll in the summer. This is a great question.
Yep. So remember, I mentioned that this is a lockstep program. So it would be starting in fall. So you would take classes in fall, spring, and summer. So unfortunately, we do not admit for the summer.
There's another question that came in. I think we spoke about this a little bit earlier, but let's chat about it now again. If we are looking for classes that lead to certification, does FIU offer something for certification? Maybe can you specify the type of, I mean, I know the answer to that is for this particular master's degree is no, and maybe Dr. Salikis and Dr. Yuspa can elaborate on that. But Clarissa, if you can just specify the type of certification you're referring to, that would be helpful in the guidance we can provide you.
Hi, thank you. So yes, I have a temporary certificate, and I have a list of requirements that I need to achieve to get my certificate, and like 5 years to do so. So it's a few classes that we need to have in order to get the certificate, plus those exams. So those classes is what I'm looking for, and like if I could find them in a master's, that would be great because it's two birds, one stone. So does FIU have like just those classes, or what option would work?
So you're in a very good path on that because Clarissa, you have a letter already from the state of Florida that has specified the classes that you need.
Correct.
for the areas that you need. So one way to approach it is just to take those classes that the state of Florida has determined you need in order to meet those requirements for certification. And you could do them like one by one and just meet those. And then another way would be a different conversation that is a little bit of a different pathway than what these programs that we're talking about today. You can reach out to Jackie Dip, and she can route you to myself or to Dr. Yuspa, depending on your specific interest for a master's degree. And then we could talk about that on a separate type of conversation. Would that be doable for you if you could reach out to Miss Dip?
I will. Thank you very much.
But she
Okay,
was getting hers installed.
and
Mine's already installed, just need retired.
she'll route you.
A day
Okay.
and a half.
Good questions. Good questions. All right, we've got a few minutes left, so if you have additional questions, feel free to share. All right. Well, thank you once again for joining us today. We really hope that this was helpful in getting you information about what our program is about, figuring out if this is the next best step for you. Our contact information is on the screen. Jackie is here to support you every step of the way. Feel free to reach out to us. This really was intended for us to share information with you, but we'd love to connect with you in a one-on-one setting, help you figure out what's the next step for you. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to hopefully seeing you in our classes in the fall.